Welcome to lesson 1 for Transmath. So we're going to start off with this skills maintenance page. I want you to pause the video and work through these problems and then unpause it, and I'll go through the answers and you can see how you did. So pause, work through them, and then come on back. All right, so now that you're back, 3 times 4 should be 12. What times 7 is 35? That is 5 times 7. Because of number 2, number 3 gets a little bit easier. I know 5 times 7 is 35, and I've got 1 0 on the end here. So 5 times 7 is 35. 50 times 7 is 350. And just because of number 1, number 4 gets pretty easy. It's 12 with 1 0. 8 times 2 is 16. 80 times 2 is 60. 1,600 is the same as 8 times 200. 700 times 5 is 3,500. 8 times 6 is 48. 80 times 6 is 480. 8 times 600 is 4,800. 9 times 7 is 63. 630 is the same thing as 7 times 90. 4 times 6 is 24. So 40 times 6 is 240. And 4 times 600 is 2,400. So we are just using our extended facts there. Okay, our basic multiplication facts are the ones where they were single digits times single digits. And then we just had to make sure that we had the same number of zeros on the left side of the equal sign as we did on the right side of the equal sign. So we're going to start off today talking about fair shares for fractions. All right, so there's going to be a lot of scrolling involved, so I apologize for that a little bit. But when we have a fraction 4/6, 4 over 6, the top number is called the numerator, and the bottom number, 6, in this case, is called the denominator. So one way to think about these is as a part compared to the whole. So my general idea, my picture that I think of is pizza, because I like pizza quite a bit. So I'm going to look at this one. If I cut that pizza into 6 pieces, the whole thing is 6 pieces. Okay, if I ate 4 of those 6 pieces, that would be my fraction. I ate 4/6, 4 over 6 of a pizza. Okay, the shape does not ultimately matter. I just use pizza because it's the easiest one in my mind to picture. If you want to think of a rectangle, that's fine. If you want to think of any other shape that's easily divided into the exact same size pieces, that is okay. But those pieces have to be the same size. Okay, so they're called the fair shares. So they broke down this rectangle here. That's 6 little squares for the denominator, and they shaded in 4 for the numerator to show they had 4 of those 6 pieces. The reason why fair shares is important is because if this one right here was my pizza and I said I ate 4 pieces, I could have 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's a lot, or I could have had 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's not as much. Okay, I remember when I was a kid thinking I was smart and I was going to outsmart my parents, and then that never ever worked for me. But I remember having to share a sandwich or whatever with my sisters, and my mom said, okay, cut this in half. And then I was going to be tricky and think I was going to get more, so I didn't cut it quite as to the fair shares. So I cut it thinking I was going to get the big piece, and then my mom would ask my sister which piece of the sandwich she wanted. Obviously, she would pick the big piece. So to avoid having that issue, we want to go with fair shares so that it doesn't matter if you pick first or last. You're going to get the same size piece. Okay, so when we add fractions together, okay, we use a picture to think of our fair shares. If I have a square cut into 4 squares, I'm still going to kind of picture a pizza. If I have 2 slices of pizza, I decide I'm not hungry, I go back to the pizza and have 1 more slice. Overall, I've had 3 slices of the pizza. So I've had 3 out of the 4 squares. Okay? The bottom number is not changing because that's saying that there was 4 things total. Okay, the only thing that's changing is how much of it I have. I have 2, then I have 1. 2 and 1 together makes 3, which is why we have 3 over 4 for our final answer. Subtraction works the exact same way. Maybe I grabbed 3 slices of pizza right away thinking I was really hungry, and then I only ate 2 of them, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to save this 1 piece, put that back so I can eat it tomorrow. So I subtracted 1 piece from my plate. Now I still have 2 that I will eat on my plate out of the 4. So 3/4 minus 1/4 is 2/4. Again, the bottom number does not change. I just do the top number plus or minus the bottom number depending on what the question is. 3 minus 1 equals 2. Okay. This is still true even if we get to numbers that are bigger than 1. So if I have a bunch of pizzas lined up, having a pizza party, but all of the pizzas are cut into 6 pieces. From the first pizza, I have 5 slices. So maybe that first pizza is all pepperoni. Okay, I have 5 slices because apparently I'm just starving and want to eat all of the food. And then I see a cheese pizza and I want 2 of those slices. Okay, I still ate a total of 7 slices of pizza, 5 pepperoni and 2 cheese. I'm going to say that I ate 7/6 of a pizza. What that means is each pizza is cut into 6 slices. So I'm still talking about a pizza that is cut into 6 slices no matter what. I just happen to eat an entire pizza and then more. Okay, if the top number is bigger than the bottom number, that means I ate more than one, or I took more than one, or I have more than one, depending on the context of the problem. Subtraction, again, works the exact same way. If I have 7/4, that's what all of those blue squares represented. Okay, the top number was bigger than the bottom number. I'll go back to this one quick. So that meant I had 2 sets of this bottom number. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and the white would be the 4th. I have 7 out of 4. I give 2 back. So I get rid of 2 of those. I still have 5 blue squares out of 4 for each piece. It's tempting to want to put 5/8, but 5/8 is smaller than 1. I need to have an answer that is bigger than 1. So you should be working on the skills workbook for page 2, which is right here as well. So go ahead, add these fractions, subtract these fractions, and then in activity 2, try to divide them up into the fair shares and shade in the numerator. Shade in how many parts we have. And then, so pause the video, do that, and then unpause it and see how you did. So activity 1 should be 5/5. And if you want to be super fancy, remember that 5 divided by 5 is 1. Okay. Number 2, 4/9 minus 1/9 is 3/9. We haven't talked about simplifying yet, but some of you might have heard of it. It's the same thing as 1/3. Number 3, 5/7 plus 1/7 is 6/7. Number 4, you've got 7/7, which is 1. Number 5, you should have 15/10, which again, we have not talked about simplifying yet, but if you've done it in the past, this simplifies down to 3/2. And number 6 is 2/9. I expect you guys to be able to get to these highlighted answers. If you got to the ones after the equal sign where I wrote equals 1 or equals 1/3 or equals 3/2, that's a bonus. It means you're ahead of the game, so that's awesome. Activity 2, it says divide each of the shape into fair shares and shade the part to match the given fraction. Some of these you have multiple ways that you could do this, so you got to be kind of careful with what's going on. So number 1, I think everybody could figure out cutting this into a pizza like this, 1 out of 4. Obviously my picture's not perfect, but it's got to be at least kind of close. I need to shade in 1 of those 4 pieces. Number 2, this one is tricky. I don't need to cut it into 3 pieces, but I can't cut it like this because those 3 pieces are not the same size and shape. I can't cut it like this because they're not the same size and shape. This is, in my opinion, the trickiest one that I think this works out pretty well. I cut it into 3 equal-sized triangles, and then I need to color in 2 out of those 3 pieces. Number 3, cut it into 5 pieces. Cutting into 5 is kind of tricky. So we'll just kind of get as close as we can. Right there. They're not perfect, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. You need to color in all 5 of them. I'm just going to highlight over so you can still see the separations. Number 4, 1/2. Cut it in the middle. That's one way to do it. And then shade in 1 of the pieces. And then 4 out of 6. Okay, if you want to cut that in to 6 pieces, I like to start in the middle, cut it into 2 pieces, and cut each of those pieces into 3 pieces. Again, not perfect, but pretty close. I need to color in 4 of those pieces. So I'm going to color in 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 4 out of 6. All right. So for the problem solving, we're just going to go through these problems together. If you want to pause and try them first to see how you do, that's awesome. But we're going to have the directions that say the local movie theater has to keep track of how much money it makes so that it can stay in business. The table shows data from 1 week of sales at the Lakewood Cineplex. It shows the amount of each item sold for each day of the week. For example, the theater sold 200 adult tickets on Monday night. They also sold 75 bags of popcorn. Answer the questions based on the data in the table. A calculator may be used. I'm going to cross that off. We don't need to use a calculator. We can do this without. So first, we're going to talk about how to read these tables. So if you took a highlighter and went straight across, okay, that says adult under Monday 200. So adults 200, they sold 200 adult tickets on Monday, 120 on Tuesday, 150 on Wednesday, and so on. Okay, if you're looking at a specific number and you want to figure out what that represents, so if I find 86 and I like that number for some reason, if there was ever a question about 86, I know that it's on Wednesday because it's right below Wednesday, and I know it's talking about sodas because it's in that same row. Okay, so now let's actually jump into the problems. It says, what was the average number of popcorn sales for the week? So popcorn sales are right here. Now, to find our average, the first thing we do is add up all of the total things. So popcorn was 75, 82, 93, 72, 151, 216, 193. I'm going to add those things together. Now, when I add them together, I can be a little bit sneaky with how I group things. So I know that 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 6 is 10. So those 3 make it 10. 2 and 3 are 5, so that's 15. Another 5, that's 20. 22. Carry. 1 and 9 make 10. 2 and 8 make 10, so that's 20. 25. 32. Okay, plus a 9 gives me 41. Plus a 7 gives me 48. All right, 4 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 is another 8. All right, so to figure out my average, that is not my average. Obviously, it's more than they ever sold in one day. I now take that number and divide it by how many numbers there are. So there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers. All right, so I divide by 7. 7 goes into 8 one time. 7 goes into 18 2 times. 2 times 7 is 14. 7 goes into 42 6 times, exactly. So I know they sold an average of 126 popcorn each day. So for popcorn, they sold an average of 126. Now it also wants to know for soda. I do the exact same process. All right, I'm going to do it on the left side this time. But for soda, I go right there. I'm going to have 78, 4, 86, 94, 243, 217, 188. All right, so these numbers, I know 4 and 6 make 10, 7 and 3 make 10. So that's a 20 right there. 8 and 8 make 16. Plus 4 is another 20, so I know I've got 40. All right. I know 1 and 9 make 10. 8, 8, and 4 make 20. We just established that, so that's 30. And then plus 7 plus 4, so 30 plus 11 gives me 41. 4 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1 gives me, that's going to be 9. All right, so I'm going now to take 910 divided by 7. 7 goes into 9 one time. 7 goes into 21 3 times. Exactly. And then 7 goes into 0 times. I need to remember that piece as well. So for soda, they sold an average of 130 sodas each day. Obviously, some days are more than others. Tuesdays, they barely sold any. And Fridays, they sold a whole bunch. All right. So that's the process for doing these. It's going to be just kind of lather, rinse, repeat, add all of them up, and in this case, divide by 7. The only reason we're always dividing by 7 is because it's days of the week, so that number doesn't change. But if I was some other group of numbers, like months in a year, that'd be 12. Weeks in a year, that'd be 52, so on like that. So it matters the context of the problem. So for adult tickets, we're going to look at those numbers up there. So 200, 120, 150, 219, 306, 390, and 225. Again, notice that even though my numbers are slanting, I do have my place values lined up. That is going to be important. So 0 plus 0 plus 0 is 0. 9 plus 6 is 15, plus 0 plus 5 gives me 20. 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 plus 1 is 10. Plus 0 plus 9 is 19. Plus 2 is 21. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 14, 16. So I've got 1,610 divided by 7. 7 goes into 1 0 times, but goes into 16 twice. 7 goes into 21 3 times, and into 0 0 times. So on average, they sold 230 adult tickets. And then for child tickets, they're going to sell less. So they're going to have 39, 47, 35, 52, 120, 250, and 87. 9 plus 7 is 16, plus 5 is 21, plus 2 is 23, plus 7 is 30. 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 4 is 10, 13, 18, 20, 25, and then 33. 3 plus 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6. So 630 divided by 7. This one should be real easy. We should get 90. That's one of our basic extended facts. So they sold an average of 90 child tickets each day. All right. Now, when we think of average, it means about half of our answers, or half of the numbers are above this number and half of them are below. It's trying to be somewhere in the middle. So number 3 says, look at the patterns in the adult and child tickets. Explain why there's such a difference in the average number of tickets for adults and children. Okay. On Monday, there's a lot more adults than children. There's a little bit less of adults and more children on Tuesday. About the same on Wednesday. Then Thursday, there's more adult tickets. Friday, there's a lot more of both. Saturday, there's a lot of both. Sunday, there's still a lot of both compared to the rest of the week. So there's a couple of things. One, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's more of like the weekend. That explains why there's more tickets being sold just in general. But why is there such a different number of adult and children tickets? I don't know about you guys, but I don't know of very many 5-year-olds that have a job that can go buy their own movie tickets and then can go to the movie on their own. So that could be one thing. I'm not going to write these ones down, but there's a few different sentences that I think of, but everybody might have different things. So just in general, 1, more adults can buy their own tickets, so you've got more people who can go. And 2, there's more adult movies than there are of just children's movies. And even if there are children's movies, typically an adult has to go to those as well. So number 4, explain which day did the soda machine break. I'm going to guess that it broke on Tuesday because they only sold 4. Every other day they sold above 70. So that's probably a day that the machine broke. Could have been a different answer, but you could make an argument that it broke on Monday towards the end of the shift, and then they weren't able to fix it until Tuesday at the end of the shift also. You can make an argument for that, but it says use the minimum to explain the answer. So I think it broke on Tuesday in the morning sometime after the first couple were sold. Now, after this video, you should give that day 1 lesson homework a try. Make sure if you have any questions, you reach out to your teacher and ask for help. Send a question via email or Schoology message, whichever method your teacher prefers. Hope everybody has a fantastic day.